Thank you. So still on the same topic, Treasurer, as Treasurer, as part of the budget development process, did you ask Treasury to model the renewal costs and operating subsidies that would result from adding a new stadium to the government's balance sheet, and whether it's sitting on the balance sheet of the MPDC or Stadiums Tasmania, wherever the asset sits, there will be ongoing operating costs and likely subsidies required by the government to meet those costs? Have you asked Treasury to model those, and where are they included in the forward estimates?
Look, that's a fair question, and that is something that with every infrastructure project, maintenance costs, etc., it's interesting that it seems that it's only for the stadium that those sort of extra costs.
Well, we're not usually asked to make planning decisions on other significant infrastructure projects with respect, Treasurer, so that's why we're asking these questions.
Well, it's not the planning. The planning is one issue. Its economic viability with respect is another issue, but I'll pass to the Secretary.
Well, just a couple of comments. In relation to the capital cost, Treasury is involved in a oversight steering committee which keeps abreast of where Macquarie Point is at in terms of its capital delivery. And the next major point, which you'll probably hear this afternoon, would be when they go to market and test the market. You can have with a background in capital delivery, you can have an improving view on capital cost as you work through scoping and development, but your key point is when you go to the market and see what people will contract for and to deliver what.
I'd moved on from capital costs. They were the member for Hobart's questions. I was talking about operating and the subsidies required by the government ongoing.
Yeah, in relation to operating costs, they are outside of the forward estimates, so no, we haven't done detailed modelling on that. We have, in relation to a request from Mr Bailey, done a little bit of work for the Treasury in relation to future interest rate costs, but we haven't done modelling on the OPEX side.
Do you intend to do that?
Well,
be up to the Treasurer, wouldn't it?
After the dealt with, I suppose.
Treasurer, do you see that as something that you ought to be asking Treasury to model, so that you as Treasurer have a full understanding of the impact on the budget of the ongoing operations of this proposed stadium?
Look, those sort of costs are something I dare say that I'm just trying to think this out, whether MPDC would be better or Stadiums Tasmania might be better to, because they have an understanding of what actual costs might be involved, being the operators of
Doesn't that concern you, though?
Yeah, Treasurer, I was just going to say, it's similar to the corporate planning process I described earlier. The responsible entity would do that planning work, and then Treasury may be asked to review it.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But as Treasurer, you accept that there'll likely be a need for ongoing subsidies to Stadiums Tasmania, Macquarie Point Development Corporation, wherever the asset sits, to fund the ongoing operations and renewal of the asset, noting that Stadiums Tasmania doesn't have significant revenue streams to cover that?
There will clearly be costs, as when you build a new road, guess what? You've then got maintenance costs over the years to fill potholes, do weed reduction,
and so you need revenue streams coming in to pay for that?
And so that is part and parcel of doing normal business.
Roads don't have other operating costs, though. Like they don't have power bills. They don't have, grass growing requirements. They don't. There's a whole heap of things that are different from a stadium than a road.
Yeah, but as Stadiums Tasmania and MPDC are of the view that those costs are all part and parcel of the operations that will be recovered.
So do you accept there will be likely ongoing equity injections required from the government, ongoing, to fund the operating and renewal costs of the stadium?
Look, there will be. How they will be funded is the question, and then the question is the extent of it. But it's like when you build a new road, there will be the ongoing costs of maintenance of that road, or if you build a school, when it needs a new lick of paint, or whatever. There are always ongoing costs.
And you always have to be sure as a government, do you accept that you need to be able to have sufficient revenue coming in to fund those essential services?
Well, you need a sufficient room in the budget to be able to do it, yeah.